Now, this was the video clip before we welcome Parker into the show. This is just a portion of it. It was about 90 seconds. It was an interview. It's Parker talking a little bit about playing for Rocky Long and playing at San Diego State and the kind of offense that they've had, et cetera, which he's been a part of now going into season number 4 for Parker Houston. But here he was, just a brief clip so you have some background as to what it was that motivated this interview request.
It's the same Aztec football. It's smash mouth football. We're going to run the ball down your throat. We're going to beat you at the line of scrimmage. We're just going to window dress it a little. We're going to make it look a little different. We're going to have a few different calls and stuff like that, but it's still, Aztec football. It's still mentally and physically tough on the field.
Mentally, physically tough. It's something you hear year after year after year about the way the Aztecs play, especially when they face off against teams that aren't used to facing them outside of the Mountain West Conference. So let's say hello to senior tight end Parker Houston, who joins us on Extra 1360. Parker, Darren Smith, thank you very much for the time.
Hi, guys. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it. You got some fans out there. You came by special request. I just wanted you to know that.
Yeah, I saw that. It's pretty cool to know that everybody's out there listening and watching our videos.
Well, how about that, right? And now here you are. Tell us the story about being recruited, because it seemed like it was a big part of what you were describing. Take us back. Who recruited you? How did it work? How did they find you? What was the process like? I realize this is your senior season, and you've probably gone through this a bunch. But how does somebody end up from Sparks, Nevada? How'd you end up at SDSU on the Mesa?
So Coach Jeff Horton, our running backs and our offense coordinator coach, recruited me. He kind of got his coaching career started a little bit at University of Nevada, Reno. So he recruited me. He liked how I played, how physical I was, how aggressive I was out on the field. He thought it'd be a great addition to the offense in that kind of tight end / adjuster position. He thought I could do it all. So, I came in and, tried to do it all for him, try to, compete the best I could to let him know that he did not, there was a lot of reward at the end of it for him.
I like that. So Horton's the one, Coach Horton shows up at the house and he starts selling you. Now, how much did you know about San Diego State when they come knocking on your door?
Not too much. I mean, I knew they were in the conference because I'd gone to a lot of, UNR games and stuff like that. But other than that, not a lot.
Okay. So the style of play, because again, that was a big part of the clip that drew some attention here and sort of resulted in you being on the air with us. But how long did it take for you to say, wow, that's the style of football that I want to play?
As soon as I got here, I took an unofficial visit and I talked to our strength coach, Coach Holland. And he kind of, was telling me that it's not Reno anymore. It's his weight room, it's his rules, and talking with Coach Long and just the way he describes how he wants football to be played. It's very old school, very, like I said, smash mouth football, and that's just the way I play my game. So I knew I'd fit in pretty well here.
All right, senior tight end at San Diego State, Parker Houston, joining us on Extra 1360. I would ask you, not that you want to knock your hometown or the city close to your hometown, but when a coach and a strength coach in Rocky Long tells you it's not Reno anymore, what exactly does that mean?
It's just you're not the big dog on campus when you get here. You're used to being the number one guy on your high school team, and you're used to things being done a different way. So when you get here, it's a huge change up for you, and it's just you start back on the low man on the totem pole, and you got to work your way back up to the top.
And is that exactly the way it played out for you?
Yeah, I mean, exactly the way it worked. You came in and it wasn't very strong upper bodily, and Coach Hall noticed that and pushed me in the weight room and, got me to where I needed to be able to compete at the level that we expect here at San Diego State.
This is a style of play, and Parker, I don't need to tell you that we just had Mike Leach on. Mike Leach, air raid offense, Washington State, throw it 50, 60 times, Gardner Minshew the whole shooting match. That's the style of play now that is at the collegiate level, high school, college, and even into the pros, as Mike Leach pointed out. This is different, though. And I think it's interesting that this is a style that attracted you. So was this similar to the style that you played in high school, or was this just different altogether than what you had in high school? The style of play, smash mouth, grounded out, blocking tight ends, all of that.
So we ran the read option in high school. So we were a lot of pass as well, but it just the way I grew up playing with my Pop Warner coaches, I had a great coach. Coach Paul always told us to play hard, hit hard, dominate. So that's something that I've carried with me throughout my entire football career and translated it from Pop Warner to high school and just being one of the bigger guys out there, you're expected to be one of the most physical, one of the most dominating guys. And so I tried to be as mean on the field as I could without getting the unnecessary penalties and stuff like that. And, like I said, when I heard Coach Long say that he likes that old school football, it attracted me so much that I was like, this is somewhere I have to be.
I love that. What was the phrase from the Pop Warner coach?
It was play hard, hit hard, and dominate.
Play hard, hit hard, dominate. I'm literally writing that down. I'm sure that Rocky Long probably loved hearing that when you brought it inside of the locker room. It sounds like something I could hear Rocky Long saying.
Yeah, it's. It was something we'd say during Pop Warner practice every day, and we were fortunate enough to be a team that made it all the way down to Florida for the Pop Warner national games and stuff like that. So it's something that stuck with me. It's something that I feel describes me pretty well, and it's how I want to play my game.
This is senior Aztec tight end Parker Houston joining us on Extra 1360 and FM 103.3. That style of football, though, as we said, it feels like, I don't want to use the term endangered species, but we're seeing less and less of smash mouth football. You would agree, right, Parker?
I'd agree 100%.
Okay, with that said, how do you turn that into an advantage then when you are playing the opponents that you're playing, when so much of the sport is shifting away from the style that you play? In other words, do you get the sense, I've always gotten the sense, and I heard this from Aztec players when Rocky Long was at New Mexico, they really hated playing against him. And do you get that sense today that with everything shifting towards air raid and pass-happy offenses, teams don't like playing your kind of team?
Mm-hmm. I would 100% agree. I think a lot of players nowadays don't like getting their hands in the dirt or don't like coming down and forcing the ball. So I think when you look at a program like ours and with the way Coach Long has constructed his defense, those guys love coming downhill. Those guys look for the big hits and things like that. And playing teams that don't want to be as aggressive as we are is nice because we're going to bring the fight to them, and it gives us that little edge that we need to win.
Right. I mean, that's your key strength there is your physicality. Not everybody wants to play that physical brand of football, right? I know you hesitated a little when you said they don't want to match us physically. I was thinking, is he going to call them soft? But that's the way you want to make them feel, right? Like you guys are, like your opponent is soft by comparison.
We want to just physically and mentally dominate our opponents. And Coach Long says almost every day, he says one of the worst things you can be on a field is soft. And I think a lot of the guys take that to heart and do their best to show Coach and to show our other coaches that they aren't soft, that they deserve to be here, that they too want to be part of that old school style football, that smash mouth type football.
All right, this is Parker Houston, senior tight end, San Diego State. San Diego State's going to kick off against Weber State coming up on August 31st. You're going into your senior season. What boxes do you still need to check off in your career? This is your last year of eligibility, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what boxes do you want to check off before it's all said and done?
There's one huge box that's on my note sheet at home, and it says right next to it says win the 22nd championship for San Diego State. I've been asked, what are your personal goals, what are your team goals, and I said I don't have any personal goals. I've had a fun career, I've had a good career, played as a true freshman, and I've got plenty of time, and I want to leave a legacy that people will look back at and be like, that 2019 team was outstanding. They were unstoppable. They won the 22nd Mount West Championship for San Diego State and things along the lines of that.
I like that. And 10 consecutive bowl games, I'm sure, is something that do you remember, by the way, a time where 9 consecutive is what it is, speaking in the future, if you guys do what you do and check that box, you'll go to another bowl game. But do you remember a time where this kind of success was hard to imagine at San Diego State University, or was that just too before your time?
That was before my time, but it's something that Coach brings up. He talks about how those guys played, how they played, especially the 2015 team and I believe the 2012 team, how they played with chips on their shoulders because they were not seen as the top dogs. And so I think that's kind of been where a lot of our drop-off has been, is because we've been seen as the top dogs with the target on our back, and guys aren't playing with that extra edge, with that chip on their shoulder. So we talk a lot about how unsuccessful the program was and how the past seniors and past players have built this program up to where it's a standard of winning, games in the double-digit numbers, going to a bowl game, and going to the Mountain West Championship game and winning that championship game.
Were you a big University of Nevada Reno fan growing up?
Yeah, I mean, hometown, it was easy to go to games, just a fun atmosphere to be around and things like that.
Who'd you see play there?
Well, sorry, what?
Who did you see play there? Who are the players? Because they put a couple of famous people into the pros.
Yeah, I saw Kaepernick play. I've seen Rashard Matthews. Man, a lot of guys. I can't even think of it right now.
They've had some good teams over the years as well. Edward C. Reed High School. Who was Edward C. Reed?
He's our high school founder.
That's it, huh? That's what you got on Ed Reed?
Yeah.
Hey, well, how's it going with now? Again, last year at this time, it was everybody was trying to figure out the quarterback situation. This year, it's Ryan Agnew, and everybody knows it. If you haven't already sought out some sort of financial advice from Ryan Agnew, I would recommend you do that between now and graduation, Parker. That's another story.
I've heard that Ags is quite demanded to talk to you about numbers and stuff like that.
Yeah, he's got a good head on his shoulders when it comes to commodities, the stock market, and things of that nature. So how has it been with him as the main trigger guy here behind the Aztec offensive line? What's different about and there's plenty of experience with it, but what's it just been like with Ryan Agnew, everybody knowing he's the starting quarterback for 2019?
I think it puts a lot of pressure on Ags, but he is a guy that is going to be able to respond to that pressure, and he's going to be able to excel with it. Just how much time he spends in meeting rooms, watching film, preparation, out of practice. He's always getting us into the right formation, getting us into the right play versus our defense, which is not always easy. So he excels at doing stuff like that. He is a dual threat guy, and I think the new offense is going to help show what he can actually do instead of just being what do they call it, like a time clock quarterback?
Oh yeah, the game manager.
There you go. Thank you. A game manager. Yeah, it's going to be able to allow him to just have some wiggle room to show everybody what he can do.
Can he sling it a little bit?
Oh yeah, Ags can throw the ball.
He can. All right. He's got some velocity there. Got a little spin.
Yeah, I mean he hasn't thrown me the deep ball in a while, but I think he's saving it for the season.
Yeah, is that what it is?
Yeah.
How do you, senior, again, last thing here, since I'm sure this will be the last time that we chat with you between now and the start of the season. Weber State's your first opponent, August 31st, KGB Sky Show, home opener, the whole bit. But I remember being 22, and I know I would be looking ahead a little bit at UCLA. How do you keep everybody focused on, I know it's cliche, but how do you do it on Weber State, not thinking ahead to what's coming the following week at the Rose Bowl?
As cliche as the question, the answer is just one game at a time. We'll have starting next week. We'll have stuff on our lockers that says "Beat Weber State." We'll have a huge banner as we walk out to practice that says "Beat Weber State," and it's one thing at a time. You can't. I mean, I'm sure guys have it in the back of their head, but they know to start off our season right, we have to beat Weber first.
Period. Full stop. Beat Weber. No thinking about Rose Bowls. No thinking about anybody else, conference play. You're not looking down the road at facing UNLV. Did you grow up hating UNLV, by the way, because you were a Reno guy?
Yeah, and their head coach used to be Bishop Gorman's head coach, who used to kick my butt in state every year. So it's nice to play him and get a little revenge.
I love it. All right, hey Parker. Again, the people spoke. They wanted you on the air. I'm glad that we were able to make this happen. Thank you. I hope we'll get a chance to do this again during the regular season, man. Thanks for the time. Hey, by the way,
appreciate it, Darren.
Appreciate one thing before you go. Do you have a strong opinion about Popeye's chicken sandwich versus Chick-fil-A?
I actually haven't had the Popeye's chicken sandwich yet, so have me back on the air in a few weeks, and I'll let you know.
Done. Thank you. Appreciate it, Parker.
All right, sounds good.
You got it, Parker Houston.